Good morning. It is Phoenix Amore. So I wanted to kind of talk about some things while I knock out these dishes. First of all, let me tell you guys what vital mistake that I made yesterday when I came back from the wreck. Ironically enough, I was still very sweaty. I decided to go to the grocery store and it was freezing in there. And y'all already know where I'm going with this. My body started locking up on automatic because when you have that sweat, naturally when you have that moisture on you and it starts to be cold on your skin, then next thing you know, your muscles are locking up, and that my neck was killing me. So I had to get on back and get myself right from that. So this is what I wanted to speak on this morning. Now, this is the difference. I took this opportunity to make this video because I wanted people to know the difference when you have people who are into Wicca and witchcraft. They don't grasp the whole concept of just because I'm talking about Moses being trained in certain things, right? The occult on some level did not mean that he always went to that once God kind of brought him into his circle, his realm. So here's what happens a lot of times to people is they misinterpret. Again, when I say I'm not into Wicca, I'm giving examples and I'm teaching folks again what the difference is and how you can protect yourself from being caught up in things. There is a reason I do not mentor everybody reading. Not everybody is meant to read. Literally, sometimes if I'm reading for somebody and I get a couple of cards indicating, hey, this person has this ability, that will really come up. But it's because it naturally is a part of who they are. It's not something, again, that's just wham, bam, oh, anybody can do that. BS. It's not the truth. So if you recall during the season when they started writing the articles about the brujerias and all this, for those who don't know, that is basically a witch in so many words, just to be very frank with you. And so the thing that I wanted to explain to people is, again, I'm no witch. I've said that 100 times in my blog. I've said to people, I have tarot, I have crystal, guess what? And I have sage. That's it. When I talk about stopping at the store on the way back from my uncle's and recording, guess what? I got a bracelet that is a crystal. I was drawn to it. When I talk about spirit-led, that's what I meant. Before, when I first started having heavy dreams, right? Again, I like to remind people, I was led to that lapis lazuli bracelet, and I always would take the time to go look in the Bible to see, before I started even getting into that stuff, is this in the Bible? That's why I talk about spirituality being linked to religion. I took the time when I was spirit-led to check in with the Bible to see, oh, there it is. And so the other day when I stopped, I wanted another bracelet, right? And if you notice the necklace that I got, these are not expensive things, by the way. So the necklace that I actually have is celestite, right? Another crystal. That's that blue one I've been wearing. And then I got a red jasper bracelet. That's all I bought. That store has all kind of stuff you can get into. Trust me, I've seen some stuff I'm looking going, ooh, that look like nope. But having that self-discipline not to go there is the key. That is why I commended and did not respond again, did not mind responding to the guy who was like, it ruined my life. I guarantee you most everybody who has had some real crazy stuff happen to them, it is because they start dabbling in some stuff for real. And most of the time they won't be truthful about it, but that's the truth. Or they had a mentor who started telling them about channeling guides and all that. And these are the things that will get you in some trouble. If people remember, I said you have some people that God has chosen that recognizes black magic. In essence, the way that it comes across to me is that discernment. I can see things the way that I see certain things. A cat. A lot of the times if I'm having to throw a cat, just the other day, I had a dream that this cat tried to get in my car. That's always a witch for me in that capacity. And I grabbed it and I threw it out the window. And it was very weird because once I threw it, then the cat tried to go, I don't know who it was somebody, 18-wheeler or somebody that, I don't know. But I was like, well, that cat is going over there that way. So it's clearly somebody who's used to dabbling or however you want to say it. But the point was, on instinct, I knew what to do. And so that's what the key thing, wolves, certain things that manifest to me, I know it's somebody dabbling in some stuff. So that's the difference there. But you have to be careful because if you're around, first of all, I explain in the coven, that's basically a group of witches. And a lot of times they put their energy together, however you want to say it, and then they were doing spell work. They put all their energy together to become some powerful entity, whatever it is they call it, to do certain things. First, I only learned about this stuff because when God was like, some things you're going to need to know about, getting involved in and knowing about, two different things. Be careful. And so here's what happens when people start to have to pay back what they owe, because they're using, right, these entities to grant them certain things. And that's why I say, okay, you know, when you get ready to owe, it's not going to be pretty. And a lot of the times if somebody's been dabbling all the time and getting what they want, they freak out when they owe because stuff hits that fan. And I recall telling people before, one of the clients that I stopped reading for, because I'm like, no ma'am, she kept on, she had an addiction. I told her outright, you have an addiction to witchcraft. That basically meant she had a tendency, she'd go way to Florida, right? I forget what state she lived in, Tennessee, somewhere. But she'd travel to Florida with a group of friends and they'd go get some work done, that's what they call it, and see these witch doctors and all that. I'm like, to each his own. However, what started happening with her is when I was reading for her, I noticed I could feel that energy coming my way. And I said, girl, you're going to have to stop dealing with that kind of stuff because it's going to jack you up. Sure enough, I told the story. She ended up having stents in her heart when she was 32. Now, she was overweight, but still, nevertheless, I said, you notice something. You keep going to these witch doctors and all this kind of stuff, and your health is worse and worse and worse. And that's what happened. What she was going for is more monetary stuff, a job, always about money, money, money. And it's strange because when people get caught up in that kind of witchcraft where it's always about money and whatever, you notice, right? Or doing little things where they're trying to bind guys to them and love spells and all that. No ma'am, I do not do all that. And I'm very quick to school people on that. I'm like, sometimes you bind somebody to you, they end up going crazy. That's where you see the stories of people end up murdered and all that because they got this bonded person end up losing their minds and stalking the hell out of them. That happens because what you don't get is the spirit that's binding that person to you. Guess what? That's changing their mind unnaturally. That's the key thing. So when I talk about I move around from certain people, because if they have been dabbling, that same energy is always looking for somebody else to latch onto. Do not get that twisted for 1 minute. So when I said I don't F with witches, sometimes I've had to school them and tell them, hey, don't take offense. All I know is a lot of the times when it's somebody that I start peeking on stuff on, I'm like, you're dabbling in that stuff for real. Normally it's right before they're about to go through some crazy period because of all the stuff that they've been dabbling in. You have life events, okay, and then you have the events for real around people who dabble that are created by those little spirits that they've been conjuring up. So I hope that sheds some light on people when I'm saying to people like, I think people are getting a little bit lost, like so-and-so deserves to be protected. You don't get to tell anybody, especially God, about who deserves to get protected. When you can't separate the two, and it's gotten that kind of crazy, it was time for me to stop and do a video and say, let me remind you that I'm not a witch. I work for God. That's when God is like, that person's yes, that person no, however you want to say it. That's very real. And I often don't have control over who God is like, yes, do or don't. So when I say, hey, I can't do anything for you, that's true blue following orders. That's when you're really ordained to know. God said, I'm sorry, you owe. That's real talk. You guys take care.